Generally, in May, I proclaim May Renewable Fuels Month here in the state of Nebraska. Renewable fuels are a big part of our economy here in the state. For example, we have 25 ethanol plants. They are about a $5 billion invested base. They employ about 1,400 people directly in our small towns and rural communities. They're great paying jobs. And of course, ethanol is also great for our state because about 40% of our corn crop goes to it. And then of course, when consumers buy ethanol, they save money at the pump. And so whenever I talk about ethanol in particular, I want to remind people that there's 3 great reasons why you should be making sure you're using ethanol blends in your car. You're going to save money at the pump when you fill up with that. It's going to be great to help clean up the environment. It reduces things like carbon emissions and so forth. And then also, it is great for our farmers and ranchers because, again, 40% of our corn crop goes to that. There's also a byproduct called distillers grains that then goes to feed our livestock. Cattle is our #1 industry here in the state. So all these things kind of go together in a really synergistic way we call the Golden Triangle. And I've got a proclamation here, which I am not going to read the whole thing, but suffice to say, we want to proclaim Renewable Fuels Month here in Nebraska. I said we typically do that in May, but we're going to do it in June this year. And so we are proclaimed Renewable Fuels Month here in Nebraska. And so I want to remind people, go fill up with ethanol. You're going to save money at the pump. Great for the environment. Helps our farmers and ranchers. And with that, I'd like to call up Scott Ritzman, who is the Executive Director for the Nebraska Soybean Board, to be able to talk a little bit about Renewable Fuels Month as well. So Scott, would you please come up and join us?
So on behalf of Nebraska's corn and soybean farmers, I would like to thank Governor Ricketts for proclaiming June Renewable Fuels Month. Renewable fuels like ethanol and biodiesel continue to be viable sources of energy for Nebraska and the U.S. In the last decade, biodiesel demand for soybean oil has grown 300%, and in the last year, producers used more than 8 billion pounds of soybean oil. Demand for biodiesel increases the demand for soybean oil, boosting value of soybeans, reducing the price of the meal fed to poultry and livestock. Biodiesel also provides 60,000 American jobs. After more than 25 years, biodiesel has grown to add more than $12 billion in the U.S. economy. Soybean farmers continue to support the most tested renewable fuels on the market. In addition, as our nation's #2 ethanol producing state, the industry supports over 1,400 jobs in rural Nebraska, not counting the thousands of corn producers and livestock producers who feed distiller grains to their livestock. By producing nearly 2.1 billion gallons of ethanol and 6.4 million metric tons of distiller grains annually, Nebraska's ethanol industry provides our state with $5 billion of capital investments. Renewable fuels provide an available and proven path towards decarbonizing the transportation sector, driving economic growth, creating jobs, and improving air quality. They exist to provide consumers with clean burning, domestically produced fuel options that are better for the environment, great for their engines, and good for their wallets. Thanks again, Governor Ricketts.